What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another post-match review. We've got a bit of transfer news to bring to you as well, which we'll get onto a bit later in the stream. But we're going to look back on last night. Monaco 0, Tottenham 0.
What a game.
Very lucky to get out with a draw in that game. You know, I said it last night, you know, if we lose 3, 4, 5... no one's looking at that and saying, you know, that we didn't deserve it, because we deserved to get battered last night. There's no two ways about it.
Remember a bigger robbery? When's the last time we ever had a bigger robbery than that?
A bigger robbery than that? To know, the Hatton Garden heist or something? Who knows, mate? But it's, yeah, it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking what we saw last night. It is becoming a bit concerning what we're seeing week to week. You know, if you look specifically just in the Champions League games, every Champions League game has been poor so far. I don't think we deserved to lose the Villarreal game, but I think probably a draw was a fair reflection on that game.
Look at the goal we scored. It was
exactly, you know,
goal.
Own goal in the first minute of the game, and I don't think either side created a chance after that. It was just a shocking game of football. You look at the Bodo Glimt game, we came back from 2-0 down, but, you know, it could have very easily been more than 2-0 at the time, and we probably deserved to lose that game. Another shocking performance, and this one was the worst of the lot. 0-0 against Monaco. Could have been 4 or 5. What do you put these performances down to, particularly in the Champions League? Because I think in the Premier League it has been a bit different, particularly away from home. I think like we have seen some decent performances there, some performances where, you know, we're definitely better than the opposition. But in the Champions League it is very concerning.
Yeah, I think, well, Frank put it down to a lack of intensity. Why is that lack of intensity happening? He said he's going to have to analyse and come up with a better answer. He doesn't have the answers right now. That's what he was saying in this press conference. I think obviously in the Champions League we are rotating more. I think that's clear. We saw that yesterday, quite a few changes in the game against Boda. I think Kudus and Xavi were both on the bench. We started with Johnson on the right. Danso has been playing. I think he's played both those away games, right? Romero didn't play.
Yeah, but yesterday, apart from Gray at fullback, who had a very good game, not too dissimilar to a Premier League team.
I'm just saying we made a few changes. No, it's not too dissimilar, but we're making changes, and maybe we're struggling to match that intensity we're having in the Premier League when we're playing in midweek. I don't know why. That's what Frank is implying as well. Maybe there's a reason. You got to remember, this is Frank's first European campaign. He's obviously also in the learning phase. As much as we've got young players who are also learning in this kind of competition, it's the first time they've played in it. Same with Frank. It's the first time he's in Europe, so he's going to come up with challenges and things that maybe he didn't realise were going to be problems, and he's going to have to come up with solutions for it. But I think he's also kind of, at this moment in time, in the learning phase as a manager. He's not like a manager who has X amount of years in the Champions League behind him and he knows what to expect. I'm not saying he's coming into this blind, because I'm sure he would have had ideas, right, as to how to combat rotation and keeping up the intensity. But until you're in it, you know, you don't really know the problems, the unforeseen problems that can come up. And maybe at the moment we're having trouble keeping up a certain amount of intensity. Obviously in the first half, I'm not saying we were brilliant, but I think we had a lot more of the game, didn't we? We were in control, a lot more possession. We were looking a lot more dangerous, albeit we didn't create loads of chances, but at least we were getting set pieces. We were getting in the opposition half. Our passing was a lot better, and I thought we were able to kind of control the game a bit more in that first half, albeit Monaco still created good opportunities. But second half was like everything just went out the window. Even when he made subs, we had... it just seemed as though we had no control of the game. We had no intensity. We couldn't get in their half. And up until maybe the last 5 minutes of the game, we really struggled to get in their half whatsoever. And not only could we not get in their half, but they were just cutting through us. And it's like we had no answer to them creating chances. We weren't picking up our men. We were just getting dominated in the wide areas. We were allowing them in behind. And when they were getting those cutbacks, we weren't at all picking up our players in the box. And I think there's a lot of concerning traits. One, I also have to say as well, he said after the game, they had more shots than I would have liked. If it was every game, it would be a big challenge, but it's not. We've just played Villa and only conceded 8 shots. But, you know, in games this season, Bournemouth, we've had a lot of shots against us. Leeds, even though we won that game, I think they had nearly 20 shots, albeit maybe not a lot of them not in dangerous areas, but they had a lot of shots. Boda, they had a lot of shots against us in that game as well. So he can't act like this is an isolated incident. He's like trying to pretend this is like a rare thing. It's been a few times this season where we've looked kind of we haven't been able to restrict the opposition to the least amount of shots. It's not an isolated incident.
Yeah, maybe not an isolated to that level. It probably was to the level of big chances that we conceded yesterday. I think it was, definitely
Probably
one of the odd occasions. Like you're talking about 4 games out of how many? Out of 11 so far that we played this season,
games, three Champions League games.
Yeah, so it's definitely happens less than it does happen. But I mean, it happens less than it doesn't. But you're talking about taking over a team that finished 17th last year. It's a work in progress. It's not going to fix overnight. You're not going to all of a sudden become this team that are so impenetrable. You're not going to concede shots and chances. And, this is all a learning curve, and it's all, steps. I wouldn't say steps in the right direction, but you need to go on a journey. It's not all just going to click overnight and suddenly you're going to be this team where...
All right, but I'm not saying that. He's the one who's saying... that it's, I'm not worried because it doesn't happen that often, but it has happened quite a few times. That's my point. So it is a concern. I'm not saying it should be. I'm just saying he's just is saying as if like, I'm not worried about it because it doesn't happen that often. But like, I think it has happened a few times.
What do you expect him to say? Like, I'm really worried about it because it's happened a few times this season.
Yeah, and we have to correct it.
I'm sure like he's going to be saying, he's not going to say that in the press though, is he? Like, why not? He's going to keep it in how like there's no two ways about it. Like he's saying
say that.
He's not behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, he'll be saying to his team like, this is where we went wrong. This is what we got to fix.
Yeah. So why can't he say that? What's wrong with saying that publicly?
Why does he need to say it in the press? Why does everything have to be so like focused on what people say in the press? Like he's going to try to fix things behind the scenes.
I'm sure he will, but he's implying he doesn't see a problem. He might do, and I'm sure he does.
Exactly.
But why not say that?
But if
we know that.
If you're sure that he sees a problem, and if you're sure that he's going to fix it, then why does it matter what he says?
That'd be nice. Against Villa, he says, "I think we got it right on the day with the midfield and everything." Right. I'd like to think. Maybe he does see an issue, but maybe he doesn't. I'd like to know from him.
But I'm talking about specifically about the level of chances and shots that we're conceding.
Yeah.
Like, it's obviously a problem. He obviously thinks it's a problem. He's obviously going to try and rectify it.
Well, that's not what he's saying, though.
It's not what he's saying, but you just said, I'm sure he thinks it's a problem.
Well, I hope so. But I'd like to hear it from him. If he says what he's saying, and then it continues to happen, then
after the Bournemouth game, he said it was a problem.
Yeah.
After this game, he said it was a problem, but he's not too worried about it because it's not happening too often, which is true. It's not happening too often.
Well, recently it is.
It's happened 4 games out of 11.
In our last 4 games, Boda, Leeds, and this one, and then and Villa. Villa's one where we restricted them to minimal chances, but they did score 2, but fine. But Leeds, Boda, are now this game. That's 3 of the last 4 games.
Yeah.
So it is happening often.
Yeah, fine, if you want to take the last 3 or 4 games.
This
but in general, the season's only just started.
I understand that, but you can't come out and say, I'm not worried about this because it's not happening too often when it's happened 3 of the last 4 games.
Maybe he's not worried about it. Maybe he's saying he's not worried about it because he knows how to fix it and he knows what the problems are.
But I hope so. I'm just saying it's a bit of a worrying statement when he's saying, I'm not worried about it because, last game was only 8 shots, but in 3 of the last 4 games, we have conceded a high volume of chances.
Yeah, but I don't think it really matters what he says. Like, obviously, he's going to try and rectify it.
I see him as quite an honest guy. He says, I think he is quite honest in his press conferences.
So you don't think he thinks it's a problem then? Because you just said, I'm sure you think he's a problem. So does he think it's a problem or not?
Well, he's saying he thinks he can, something he can rectify. I hope so. I'm just worried that he's kind of not. In the recent trend is we are conceding more shots.
Yeah.
And we're also not looking great going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm worried that he's going to persist with the approach that we're going with, and thinking that we're doing well, because even in this game we got a draw away from home, even though we conceded loads of chances, right? And he's not gonna try and find, and he's obviously he's gonna want to improve how we're playing. That's a process. I understand that, but we're doing the same things on the ball each game. When at the moment, you know, the midfielders are playing sideways. We're looking to play out wide a lot of the time. We're looking to basically build up through the wide areas, through Kudus, through Odebear, through Porro. We're not progressing centrally, okay? That's kind of how he wants to play. That hasn't changed. And now, defensively, we're conceding more and more shots. And he comes out after this game where we should have lost 3-0, and he says, he said, I'm disappointed with our performance, but what was it? What was the quote? He said, they had more shots than I would have liked. If it was every game, it would be a big challenge, but it's not. We just played Villa and only conceded 8 shots. Okay, but you have to acknowledge that in 3 of the last 4 games, we have conceded a lot of shots, and this is a problem that has been happening more and more recently. That's the trend. Is recently we're conceding more and more shots. So to come out and say, well, in the last game against Villa was only 8 shots, it was like, okay, but in the recent trend is we are conceding more. So that is something we should acknowledge is a current issue. But
he did acknowledge it first of all after the Bournemouth game. He acknowledged it as well after the Bodo game. He acknowledged it after today. So I don't know what do you want him to say?
Just say, yeah, that is a concern, and we're going to try and rectify it.
But he has said it in each isolated event after the event has happened.
And it helped after Bournemouth. He said it was a problem, and then
I'm sure him saying it in the press doesn't make a difference. It's what happens on the training ground which makes a difference.
I'm just going off what he's saying. I don't know why is he brushing it off as if recently it's not been an issue when it has.
How many times have you seen managers brush things off in pressing and then they work on things on the training ground? Like, it really doesn't matter what he's saying. Like, I don't read too much into it. I think you're reading a bit too much into it.
What am I reading into? I'm just.
You want him to acknowledge it in the press conference in front of your eyes, but you've just said a minute before that you're sure that he thinks it's a problem. So
well,
if you're
I hope so.
But if you're sure that you think it's a problem, then obviously he's going to try and rectify it.
Yeah. He's kind of implying he doesn't think it's a problem when in recent games it has been.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying if it was look, we've gone over it, but the quote, I'm just saying it's a bit of a concerning quote in my opinion. If he's kind of brushing off as if this hasn't been happening more recently when it has.
He's not stupid, man. He's really not stupid. Like, he's a good level manager. He's a manager that, you know, everyone said that he focuses on clean sheets and defensive solidity. And, you know, even at Brentford in the Championship, when they were one of the better teams, they played free-flowing, attacking football. Like, obviously he knows what's happening right now isn't good enough. Whether he says it or not, he knows it. And we all know that he knows it. Come on, let's not be stupid now.
I'm just going off what he's saying.
Yeah, I get that you can go on what he's saying. But, like, don't just go on what he's saying and actually think about it for a second here. Think about it for a second. Do you firmly believe, forget what he said right there, do you firmly believe that he thinks what's happened 3 out of the last 4 games is good enough from a defensive capability?
I'd hope not.
Do you think?
Yeah, I'm sure he wants improvement.
Okay.
Well, that's what I'd like to think in him.
No, not what you would like to think. Do you think that he thinks...
I'm not in his mind. Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm not asking you to be in... I'm asking what you think he should think.
What is this question? Do I think he thinks it's good enough?
Yeah.
Well, clearly he thinks the Villa game's good enough.
3 out of the last 4 games, do you think he thinks it's good enough?
I don't know what he's thinking.
In your opinion, you must have an opinion.
Sure,
I
think it's not good enough. Do I think he thinks it's not good enough? Sure. I'd like to think so, yeah.
He obviously doesn't think it's good enough. It's just nobody can watch that game, especially for a professional, and think from a defensive standpoint it was good enough.
Yeah, he said I'm disappointed in the performance, especially in the second half. That's what he said. I understand that.
So what are you trying to get at then? What's so concerning?
I'm just concerned that he saw that game, right? And at the end of the game, he was basically saying, well, in the last game we only conceded 8 shots, so it's not so much of a problem. That's kind of what he's saying. Like we know we can do better, but I'm just saying
we can do better,
and I know that. But the recent trend is we are conceding more shots.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be nice for him to say, look, we are conceding too many shots, especially in recent games. We're going to try and rectify, not say, well, last game we only conceded 8, so actually it's not so much of a problem for us.
But if he works on the training ground and rectifies it anymore, and does go and rectify it, then it doesn't really matter then, does it?
Of course, but he has to do that, and
Yeah,
it hasn't
I'm
done
sure
that
he
in the
will.
last three of the last 4 games.
No, but more times than not, we've been good defensively this season.
Okay, but the trend is we're conceding more in the recent games.
But things go up and down, and he's new to the job, and he's 8 games in the Premier League. You know, things, as you've said many a time, you know, are not a linear process, are they? And you know, progression doesn't always go in the same pathway all the time. He's new to the job.
I'm not saying anything about Frank about whether I'm happy with him or not. I'm just saying I didn't like that quote. Why brush off a criticism when it has been trending bad?
And all I'm saying that it doesn't really matter whether you like the quote or not. And I'm certain he's going to be working on it on the training ground, and things are going to start to look better at some point.
Okay, but all we have to go on is what they say to us in the media. That's what that's what the opinion we have to basically assume they have when they're telling us, right? So that's them speaking to us, right? When they're speaking to the media, they're speaking to the fans. So that's why I listen to what they're saying, and we go off it. Obviously, you know, it's not like complete gospel, and I'm sure they say things to the media and different things behind closed doors, but if we're going off what he's saying, I wasn't happy with what he said there.
Yeah, well,
that's it. It doesn't mean I want him out. I'm just saying it was a bit concerning what he said. That's all I'm saying.
That's just where we see things a bit differently, I guess. I mean, I've just learned so many times over the years, just like, don't take these comments too seriously, because like we've seen managers say one thing and do other things so many different times, and you need to see the proof in the pudding. That's what matters the most, and it'll come to pass over the course of the season. That's what it'll come to.
Yeah, but this isn't that case. There's no need to say that unless he thinks it.
We'll see, won't we? We'll see, because if he does rectify it, then we'll see that there was a need to change things defensively and shore things up a bit more and stop those shots on goal, because that's what he's going to want to do.
Yeah, I just hope that we start to, especially on the ball as well. The problem, at the moment is we're looking so stodgy on the ball. The worry for me, why it's so concerning that we're trending to conceding more shots is because we're still looking stodgy on the ball. And attacking wise, again, yesterday was very similar. Odegaard was more involved, so give him credit, but it's still quite reliant on Kudus or going out wide. And Bergvall struggled to get involved in the game. When Javi came on, he was a bit more involved, but still didn't impact in the way we'd like. And we struggled to get in their half in that second half. But we're looking stodgy on the ball, and now we're starting to concede more shots as well. So then all of a sudden you're like, well, what are we doing then? Because if we're not looking more solid at the moment in the recent games defensively, and we're still looking a bit stodgy on the ball, that's an issue. I understand it's early on, so he's going to have time to rectify. It's still very, very early in terms of his tenure, but obviously it's just frustrating watching it at the moment.
Yeah, it's very frustrating watching it. And I was saying to you off camera after the game yesterday, I was like, I don't think I've enjoyed a sustained amount of Spurs games probably since the first 10 games of Ange, and before that probably not since the first few months or the first 6 months under Antonio Conte, from January until the end of the season. So it's hard work being a Tottenham fan, man. It really is, and it's just labouring to watch these games.
I think as well. Yeah, go on.
Where they're just so boring, not much excitement, no real attacking patterns of play. I don't know. He needs to fix it, and I'm sure he will, but it's just at this moment in time, it is just really tiring watching Spurs, man.
I think there's a bit of frustration as well in our fan base when we see things like yesterday and some other performances, and because Frank is like so early on in his tenure, you don't want to blame him. But then who do you? Then is it just a case of we just have to be patient? Doesn't matter how good or bad things get. Like there's no at the moment. It's like we're not judging anything. Mm-hmm. Like how do we judge what we're seeing at the moment? Because every bad performance, like, well, it's early in his tenure, which is fine, and I agree. But then how do we go about judging him or how things are going at the moment? Or is it just a case of we can't judge it, we just have to be patient, doesn't matter what we're being served up? But then again, you also have some fans saying, well, you know, it's not Frank, it's the players. But then some people saying, well, the players are so young. You know, you got Tel and Odebear, and they're so young, and Kudus is so new, and Simmons only just signed. So, like, you can't blame them either. So, like, there's just a lack of accountability, I'm guessing, in the team, which is very frustrating when you're a fan and you want to, you know, you're watching the game and you want to give judgment, or you want to have a feeling about what you're seeing. And, you know, you can't blame the manager, you can't blame the players. Then what do we say after games when we're being served up what we saw yesterday?
Yeah, you just got to say what you see at the end of the day. I mean, I don't find it frustrating without having to point a finger at someone. Like, I've had enough of pointing fingers after the last 5 or 6 years, however it's been. After every game, this is this guy's fault, it's that guy's fault. It's like, I think we do just need to sit, watch the game, say what we see. There's no real person to blame right now. You know, everything's so new at the football club, literally. There's not one thing you look at that's not new. We've got so many new players. We've got a new manager, new coaching staff, new board, new everything. So I think we just got to sit and take it right now and just wait until we have a big sample size that we can judge on. I don't really think that we can sit here and make any sweeping judgments or sweeping opinions on whose fault it is, because I don't think anyone's been in the job for long enough.
Yeah, and I think that's the right approach, but it's just frustrating to be there, especially after, you know, we won the Europa League last season, and then we won, obviously, you know, getting the Champions League. You want to kick on from that, and then we're back. It's almost as if we're back, you know, in a transitional season, which I guess we are, because
of course we are,
because of new manager and all this kind of stuff. But it's just, I guess, frustrating, you know, to be in that mode again.
Yeah, right. But, you know, you just got to realise where you're at, and this is where we're at right now. And the thing I find frustrating is just kind of just sitting and watching boring games. That's where we're at right now, and that's what's frustrating me. I'm not really frustrated about not being able to blame anyone or pointing a finger.
It's not about
I do
blaming,
feel
it's just accountability.
Yeah, and I do feel it's going to get better. I do feel it's going to get better, and I think it has to get better. I think it can't get much worse in terms of how boring it is to watch.
I agree. The only fear I have is, as much as I think Frank is a phenomenal manager, what he did at Brentford was brilliant, we don't know what he's like in this environment when it's a bigger club, more expectation, and he's not the underdog anymore in a lot of games like he was at Brentford. In Brentford, you know, 9 out of 10 games he was an underdog. And he was a team not expected to win. And even a draw in a lot of those games were good results or whatever. Now he's at Spurs, where he's expected to, I wouldn't say 9, but no, let's say 7 or 8 games out of 10, you're expected to dominate the ball. You're expected to be on the front foot. You're supposed to be the better team. You're supposed to, you know, we're the team with a bigger budget. We're the team who's a bigger club than most teams out there. We're supposed to have the better players. So you're expected to be on the front foot in a lot of these games. And we haven't seen him do that consistently in his career. I'm not saying he's not capable of it. I'm just saying there is that thing at the back of my mind, like, we need to see what he's capable of, you know, when we're expected to be the better team. And so far, those are the games we've struggled in the most. So that fear hasn't subsided from what I've seen, but it is very early on. And, you know, you got to give him time to figure it out. But that is a bit of a fear of mine.
Yeah, and, you know, it's fair enough. It's fair enough fear to have because of what you've seen in the past, and you can only go on at times, you know, things that you've seen. But I think that you're right. I mean, I agree with you in what you're saying, that he's a fantastic manager. He's got a great tactical flexibility about him, which we haven't seen as of yet. We haven't seen. We saw it in, you know, PSG. He went to the back 3-3-5-2, and then ever since then we've just seen the same formation pretty much, either a 4-3-2-1, a 4-2-3-1, or a 4-3-3, pretty much. Now this big run's coming. I would like to see us go back to that 3-5-2. Let's say in the Chelsea game. I would really like, once Romero comes back and we can play a back three of Romero, Danso, and Van de Ven, I really would like to see us, particularly in that Chelsea game, when you know Chelsea are going to try to come at us. Why not go for that 3-5-2? And I want to see a bit more tactical flexibility now from Thomas Frank, because that's what he's famed on, his tactical flexibility, in-game changes, all that kind of stuff. And I don't think we've maybe seen it as much as we would have liked as of yet. So now we've got all these big games coming up. We've got Newcastle in the Cup next week coming up. We've got a big game at Everton this weekend. Everton's going to be difficult, but in these games where, you know, against a Chelsea, against an Arsenal, maybe even Newcastle in the Cup, I really wouldn't mind going to see that 3-5-2, and I think that might be the way to go.
Yeah, the only thing is there's rumours Romero might be out for a few weeks. So, yeah, I said I think we'll see it, but then again, if actually I don't know if Romero's not fit, maybe we won't see it. And I think we haven't won a game yet without Romero this season.
Yeah. How many games has he not played?
To be fair, it's only Boda in this game, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
and the game at the weekend.
And the game of the weekend's three games. We've looked pretty bad on the ball.
To be fair though, I know we look bad against Villa, but I do think we, deserved more out of that game.
I'm saying on the ball we've looked not great in all of them.
Yeah. And
he's so vital because we don't play through the lines with our midfield, and that's another thing. Everyone's blaming him playing Paulini and Bentancur for it, why we're seeing what we're seeing. But Sarr came on yesterday, and it didn't change. Nothing. It didn't really help the situation.
Wasn't Sarr the one that created our best chance though? The back post of Brendan Johnson.
Was that Sarr?
Was it Sarr that played the ball to him? Was it not?
Okay, but I'm just saying he came on 60. You can't look at one moment in the game and say, okay, that means you.
But it was our best chance of the game.
Well, you could say Rishi had a good chance in the first half. Whatever. I'm saying it didn't really. Our overall play, we were still terrible from the hour mark onwards, aren't we?
Agreed.
It didn't. It's not like we put Sarr in all of a sudden. Our play changed, and we were playing through midfield, and our midfielders were being braver. We still really struggled in midfield, and we still weren't progressing centrally that much. I don't know. I think there's a big debate at the moment whether is our setup and how we're playing when we're playing Paulini and Bentancur together. Is that a problem because of just them who they are, or is it a problem because how Frank plays them?
Yeah, it could be a bit of both, to be honest. I don't know. It just seems a bit too sideways and backwards, and that needs to change. That needs to change for sure. And once new players come in, let's say a Bergvall drops into the 8 or a Sarr drops into an 8, we'll start to learn more. But right now, all we're seeing is Bentancur and Paulini are pretty much week in, week out. So we need to see different variations and see if it changes or not. Not to say, it might be a different variation. You might get different instructions. So, maybe we'll never know. But it needs to change massively because it feels like he's only focused on down those wings. And it feels like as well, when you are only focused from down these wings, Kudus is pretty much the only one that can do anything with real quality. I know Odegaard played better yesterday. He looked good against in the last game as well against Villa, steps in the right direction. But still, he's not creating those consistent big chances that we need from our wingers, especially if we're only going to create down the wings. You need high quality. And that's why Brendan Johnson ain't playing, because he can't do that on a consistent basis on the wings. It's all very well and good, him being in the right place at the right time and putting it in the back of the net. But we need more from that now from our wingers if this is the way we're going to play.
And I completely agree. That's why he's been restricted to super sub in recent games. Frank doesn't think he's proven in the recent games he hasn't been up to it, and he needs to improve massively if he's going to get back in the team, because, as you say, we're so focused on building up through the wings, and if you got Brennan on one of them, that's like half your game completely gone. And it's why we really struggled, I think, when... we didn't struggle in the early games, but I think that was for different reasons. We were playing City away. We don't need to build up through the wings. We can hit them in behind, and that's what we were doing quite well. But now, in these games where we're dominating possession and we're expected to be on the ball, you can't have your winger give the ball away so consistently like Brendan does.
Yeah.
But we also, we need more output from our wingers, but I don't know if it's sustainable. We need more threats from all over the pitch. We need to be more of a threat centrally as well. Bergvall just wasn't involved in the game yesterday, going forward in the final third.
Yeah.
Couldn't get him on the ball.
Yeah.
But we know he's got quality. I don't think he's a 10. Okay, I agree. But we know if you get him on the ball, he can provide quality. We won't get him on the ball in those areas.
Yeah, and when he was getting on the ball, he was just he put in a bit of a disaster class anyway. So I think I agree about Bergvall 10. I think his best position's 8, and then after that's probably a 6, and then you go to a 10. But I've never really liked Bergvall in the 10, to be honest. And even when he was on the ball, he was losing the ball in such bad areas. Like he just had a bit of a shocker yesterday.
Yeah, but
regardless of the positions he was picking up the ball in.
Well, you know, but when he picked up in the final third, there was one moment, I think, right at the end of the first half, he floated a lovely ball to the back post where Danso had a chance, didn't he? So you know, if you get him in those positions, you get him on the ball, and you get him providing a bit of quality, he can do it. But we just weren't doing it enough.
Yeah,
we weren't finding him enough, and it's like we weren't getting involved. It's like his role was reduced to, I don't know, fighting for second balls and stuff like that. If you're going to do that, put Sarr in the 10. You know, he's probably better off there than Bergvall. It's just a frustrating watch at the moment. But look, we know that Frank, it will take him time to figure out what's best for these players, how best to play with these players.
He's also a notoriously slow starter at every club he's been at, or the two clubs that he's been at. You know, Bromby and Brentford, it took him a while to get going, really. And,
but this isn't Bromby or Brentford, is it?
Yeah, regardless, it still took him a while to get going. So, you know, I think it will come good in the end. It will come good. People just need patience. This whole kind of back and forth on social media and in the chat and everything about Frank out and get Ange back in and all this kind of bollocks. It's just like, just back the man. He's just come in. Just back him. He's our manager now. And, you know, when we first signed him, a lot of you were very happy. And then suddenly there's a lot of people turning their backs on him already. Like, come on, we're fans. Let's support.
I think the majority are. But you just said you've got to say what you see. And I think that's what fans are doing.
Yeah, but saying what you see is not saying Frank out.
No one's saying Frank out. I know there's one account on X who's called Frank out. But, like, it's, you know.
I've seen it already. Loads in the chat here.
Nah,
our chat would never.
Nah.
Our chat would never.
No one's really calling for Frank out. There's not a real clamour. I think you're talking about a minor minority of people. It's like a handful, if anything. It's just people are frustrated with the football at the moment, and I understand that. Of course, he's going to need time. If you appoint someone like Frank, you're going to have to give him time, and I agree with that. But it's just a very frustrating watch, and then it's also frustrating that it's like if you call it out, people's like, well, you got to give him time. Yeah, I understand that, but it's still bad at the moment. And you know, and things are, and in the last few games, we've been trending downwards, not upwards. Yeah. And that's a bad thing. It's not a good thing. But I think, I think I'm confident things will turn. But we just have to see what level of manager he is when. Because we've had a fairly kind run in the past few games. It's not like we've had a fairly fixtures which we, you know, I remember, what was it, after the Bournemouth game, we were like looking at our run of fixtures, we were like, okay, wow, we got a really good run here. Yeah. But what did we say after the City game? These are the games that I'm worried about Frank for, because these are the games that we're going to be expected to be on the front foot, and it's come to pass. We haven't really been great at these games. Yeah. But now we've got a run of games where we're maybe the underdogs in a lot of these games. Yeah, and a lot of Spurs fans going in fearing these games. Yeah, these are probably the games that we're probably going to do well in. These are the games where I'm thinking this is Frank in his element, because you know, when he was at Brentford, how he approached these games, these are the games he always did well in a lot of the time. So I'm actually looking forward to these games, but he's got to find a way. But the majority of their games are not going to be the games against these top sides. Those are going to be the minority of games. These are the games he's got to figure out, the games we just had. And so that's going to be a big learning curve for him. Yeah, look, the reality is, as much as, you know, everyone's complaining about the style of play and about the amount of shots we're conceding over the last 3 or 4 games and the chances that we're creating, we've still only lost 2 games. We're still unbeaten in the Champions League. It's not all bad, you know what I mean? Like, results haven't been tragic. They've been okay. Results have been fine, but at this early point, you look at performances more than results. That's the litmus test. Results can, as we've seen, managers can get a new manager about or whatever, or managers can struggle to implement or get lucky in a few games. For me, the early results don't mean too much. Like initially, I know Ange hit the ground running. Conte had a very good start. See, I'm the other way around to that, though. No, for sure. It's about... That's you. I'm saying what I'm saying. But when a manager comes in, it's all about, at the early on, I look at how the team are playing and how they're improving. And then perform. Are the performances sustainable? Are we getting better? Are we playing better? That's what I look at when a manager first comes in. Results can, doesn't really results are great. Obviously, if you're getting good results, it's also fantastic. I'm not saying it's irrelevant. Of course, it's relevant, but I think performances earlier on are more important.
Yeah,
and then it's results.
look,
Once he gets his feet under the table, then you got to start getting results.
You can say that, but also like the performances and the style of play and the way he wants to play in the first 8 games, you know, maybe you won't even see it because it's not enough time for him to really implement his ideas on the way he really wants to play. You might see some traits and stuff and some traits creeping in, but it's really over the long term that he's really going to implement his actual style of what he wants to do and how he wants to do it. So in my opinion, the way I'm looking at it, you know, I'm looking at more. I want to see more results right now because I think the style of play is going to be a long burner thing, and I think that's going to take a long time to bed into the football club.
Yeah, but you get results by implementing your style of play. That's supposed to be how you sustainably get results.
Mm-hmm.
So at the beginning, you're not.
It's over a long term.
Yeah, agreed. But you're supposed to implement that straight away, aren't you?
You can't though.
What do you mean you can't? That's what he's trying to do, even now.
Of course, he's going to try and implement it, and he is trying to implement it. But he's not gonna see what he wants to see to the fullest extent till a long time down the road.
I agree, but you've got to start implementing it.
Yeah.
Right. So you look at results and you see what is he trying to do? What is the game plan? Are our performances getting better? Are the players getting used to his style of play? But that's what I look at the start. It's not about results at the beginning for me, because you look at how what is his game plan? How is that being implemented? And over the long term, is that going to sustainably get results? That is, for me, what you look at when managers first come in. Obviously, he's not going to be perfect early on, but you look at what is he trying to implement? Are the players getting used to it? Are the players buying into it? And that is what, for me, when the manager first comes in, and things you judge him on and things you look at, that's, for me, what you're looking at. Because results, you can't really judge a manager on results early on, because he's just trying to implement his way of playing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to judge him early on at all, to be honest. But I think that, I mean, even he said it, didn't he, that he wants to implement that defence, make us a hard team to beat, make us defensively sound. And then those attacking patterns of play and the way we attack, you know, will come a bit later down the line. I don't know. He said that very early on over the first couple of games. So I don't know if we're there yet. Clearly not, because our defensive capabilities have diminished a little bit over the past couple of weeks. So I think it's all a process, isn't it? It's all a process. So I think what he wants to implement is not there yet. I don't think it's anywhere near there yet. I don't even think we're seeing what he wants to do yet. So I think it's hard to judge on that aspect. I want to see results. I want to see us get results. So by the time the system is fully implemented, we're still there or thereabouts.
Of course, everyone wants results. Every game we want to win. I'm not saying I don't care about results. I'm just saying I'm not judging him necessarily. You don't judge managers after 10 games on what results they get.
I don't think you should judge them at all after 10 games, regardless.
Okay, not judge them as if like in and out. I'm just saying how you assess how they're doing, right, as a manager, and how they're implementing. You judge it, for me, how they're looking and what you're seeing, not necessarily what results they're getting. I'm not saying this is what I'm saying and this means I think Frank's doing bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying this is how I look at a manager's tenure early on, is how they're implementing things on the pitch. I think he's doing, results-wise, he's doing fine. Performance-wise, I think it's very up and down. I don't think it's all bad, but it's obviously not all good. And recently, it's not been good at all. But that's fine. That's just recently. There have been some good performances as well. But at the moment, I'm struggling to see the vision. That's all. That in the recent games, we're looking bad defensively and we're looking bad going forward. So he struggled to see the vision at the moment of what he's trying to implement. But that's my only point is, that for me, like, results can vary when a manager first comes in. Sometimes they get a new manager bounce or whatever, but for me it's more about what you're seeing on the pitch and their performances. That's how I assess the manager early on.
Yeah, and as much as results can vary, you know, performances can vary as well, and the message he's getting across to his players can vary. Like, so many things is up and down in the first, you know, many months of being a manager at a football club. So I don't think we're going to really see kind of a Frank team the way he sees it or the way he wants to see it for a long time. So I think we're just going to have to grin and bear it.
How long's a long time?
I don't know. I don't know. How long's a piece of string? I can't tell you.
I think second half of the season will start.
Yeah, very well could be. It very well could be. So
that's a problem.
Yeah, potentially. It could be a problem, but managers have taken longer than that and made successes of themselves. So we'll see. So
I don't know. I think you'd want to start seeing something.
Of course, you want to. You want to start seeing it straight away, but it's not possible sometimes. And
if we're not seeing it by the second half of the season, would you not say that's a concern?
I would say, yeah, it'll be concerning, but I'll still give it more time because I believe in the manager. I'll give it. I don't know how long I'll give it. It's just about how you're feeling at the time and what you're seeing, I guess. But yeah, of course it will be concerning, but maybe I'll be a bit less concerned than you, for example. I don't know.
Depends how bad it is, I guess.
I guess, yeah. So yeah, look, that's not much of a match review, but a frank review, I guess. Let us know.
Who wants to talk about the game?
Exactly. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Well, you said who wants to talk about the game. Let's get into player ratings from yesterday. We'll start off with Big Vic yesterday. Comes under a lot of heat over the last 4 or 5 games, and he has responded to those critics yesterday. Vicario, big fat 10 for Big Vic, and what an unbelievable performance. Single-handedly got us over the finish line with a point yesterday in the Champions League. Literally, it was like the Vicario wall. That's pretty much what it was yesterday. It was like the whole of the Monaco attack against Vicario, it seemed like at times.
Yeah, unbelievable performance. World-class saves. Some of the saves I could barely believe. Shots from inside the 6-yard box from point-blank range, and he's somehow on his goal line, shutting them out. That header from inside the 6-yard box when it looked bound for a goal. Incredible. That save from Balogun, fingertip save to tip it wide when for all the world to see he was going to bury it. I think the numbers are incredible. How many stops he made yesterday. It was a world-class goalkeeper performance. One of the best I've ever seen, I think. I'll go as far as to say one of the best I've ever seen in a Tottenham shirt. What a performance. What a game. Unbelievable from Vicario. And yeah, deserves a lot of credit for all the criticisms he's had in recent weeks. This was one game where you can say man of the match, best player on the pitch by hands down. What a performance.
Let's go to Pedro Porro. Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 3. I was really disappointed with Pedro's performance yesterday. I thought there was a number of times in the first half where you're looking for Pedro Porro and his ball-playing ability to spring an attack, long-range pass, or even a short-range pass, and it was just lackluster every time. The amount of passes he misplaced yesterday, and he's supposed to be like the best passer on the team, was really frustrating me. I thought defensively he was okay, but I felt like we were just conceding way too many crosses from that area of the pitch, and obviously that's down to him. So I thought it was a bit of a disaster class from Porro yesterday.
Yeah, I thought defensively in one-on-one situations was okay. I think he cooked Kudus off. Look, I think the problem was they're playing with wing-backs, and that Enrique, and they had Enrique and Utara down that side, and they were constantly getting in down that right-hand side. But when you got a wing-back and then he's also got Fatty there, who's his man? And I think there was complications about who should go with, and it led to them getting lots of joy. And we had the same problem down the other side, maybe to a lesser extent, but Akalush as well. We had a problem down that side with him getting a lot of joy and him coming into the central area and not getting picked up. And it led to a lot of pullbacks, a lot of chances. But I think when he was just left one-on-one, I think he actually dealt quite well. On the ball, absolute horrendous, one of his worst. He was just rushing passes, carelessly giving the ball away, playing the ball out of play. When he got into the final third, his crossing was completely off. Expect much better from Porro, to be honest. But I think defensively, the troubles we had, I think, were tactical more than him per se, I would say.
Kevin Danso up next. 7's all round for Kevin Danso. Obviously, you know what you're going to miss without Coutinho Romero and having Kevin Danso there, and that is playing out the back and progressive passes from the defensive areas, and obviously that was lacking with Danso there. But what he did do was, just cover the defence very well, where any kind of ball flying high in the air, he was there to win it. So strong in the air, putting his body on the line as well. So I think from a purely defensive capability, I think he did well.
Yeah, and probably
he should have scored as well.
I was about to say, he had a couple of chances, didn't he, in the box? Some good long throws, credit to him. Some of the long throws were causing trouble. So
they're getting better, to be fair.
Yeah, we're getting where providing more of a nuisance. So that was good. Defensively was really good, especially aerially. Blocked quite a few shots when there were dangerous moments, but on the ball, when we're looking to him to provide that quality Romero does and whatever, found wanting. But yeah, I think a solid performance, to be fair, from Dan. So
Mickey van der Ven up next. 8s all round for Mickey, and he had the task of pretty much man-marking Florian Balogun for the most part, and I think he did really well against him. He was like a warrior at times, Mickey van der Ven, putting his body on the line, trying to maraud back when it looked like Balogun was through on goal, which I think he did well at a couple of times. Look, Balogun did get in a couple of times in the first half, but I thought more times than not, Mickey had the better of him.
Yeah, and especially I was like one moment, wasn't he, I think it was in the second half, actually, he played Balogun through. It looked like for the world to see Balogun was going to get in on goal, and Mickey just comes out of nowhere, barges him over, and wins the ball comfortably. And that's just what Mickey's capable of. Also in the box, had a couple of chances, didn't he, which he could have scored, and was unlucky he missed the target. But yeah, I think it was a very, very good performance. Really didn't do much wrong at all. Again, another captain's performance where he seems to really... I like that responsibility of being captain, doesn't he?
Absolutely, absolutely. Next up is Archie Gray. 7s around for Archie. I thought in the first 15, 20 minutes, actually Spurs started pretty well, didn't they, in the first 5 minutes or so. And I thought Archie was central to the good play that we were doing in the opening 20 minutes. I thought he started the game really well. He was... he was helping the team get forward a little bit down the left-hand side. He went on a couple of runs. I think he looks really good on the ball. I think he's definitely staking a claim to be in that first team. He's won the better performance consistently. I don't think he's had a bad game when he has started. I think 3 starts for him so far, and I think every one of those starts has been really good. So he's unlucky not to get more minutes so far. I did feel like as the game wore on, maybe diminished in influence a little bit, but I don't think he was poor by any stretch of the imagination at all during the game. I thought he kept up good levels. So yeah, good performance from Archie.
Yeah, and I thought when he moved into midfield late in the game as well, I thought he did really well. And I think he got a kind of second wind. And I thought he really stepped up in midfield. I loved his energy. I liked when he was at left back, he was marauding forward, not necessarily on with the ball, but when Odebear was on the ball, always giving him an option, always making sure he was helping him, which was something I was concerned about before the game, whether he was going to do it, but he did it really well. Provided really good energy down the left-hand side. I really liked his physicality. When he's in one-on-one situations with Akliush, I think he did quite well. I think Akliush got more joy when he was kind of operating centrally, when he was kind of getting not picked up in those areas. I think when he was out wide, I thought Gray dealt with him quite well. I think a really accomplished, confident performance, especially in a position, I know he's played there a few times, but it's not his regular position. And I think he did really well, and did really well in midfield as well. So I think I just want to see more of him, to be honest.
Yeah. As well, when we talk about him at left back, I can't remember any time he's actually played well at left back. So that was his best performance there by far. Paulinho up next. Sims gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. For me, it was up and down from João Paulinho yesterday. Definitely not one of his best displays in a Spurs shirt, that's for sure. But the good things that he was doing is, his bread and butter, where puts in slide challenges, protects that back line. What he wasn't doing very well was probably not his forte, but, just get the ball forward with too many sideways and backwards passes. And maybe that's not more on him, more on his partner, which we'll get into in a minute. But I felt like the defence came under way too much pressure. And I think the midfield went missing a couple of times, and he was part of that.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, a large part of why Monaco were getting so much joy with chances created was the midfield, because a lot of them were pullbacks to kind of the edge of the area, or that area between the edge of the area and the penalty spot. And a lot of Minamino, Golovin, a lot of their chances were coming from that kind of area. And I think that's on people like Bentancur and Paulinho to be picking up those runnings. And I think marking-wise, wasn't so impressed. I thought in terms of his combativeness in the middle of the park, getting stuck into challenges, we know what he's good at. And I thought he was exceptional at that yesterday. Again, playing the ball forward, I just need to see more from him. And when there was a few occasions when, if he just plays the ball in front of the player, we could have been in on goal, or could have been a good opportunity, and he, the pass was off, plays it behind, or plays a loose pass. So, but I just thought he was so combative and ill. If he wasn't there, I think we would have been in big trouble. So, gave him a 7.
Rodrigo Bentancur up next. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 4. Yeah, it wasn't a good display from Lolo yesterday, to be honest. I felt like he wasn't doing enough to protect that back four. When he did get on the ball in the middle of the park, had no intention of progressing it. It was always sideways, backwards. And if you're going to play a double pivot of Paulina and Bentancur, it's surely on Bentancur to be that more forward-thinking one. He's got it more in his locker, and he just didn't show it by any stretch of the imagination. So he needs to get better, and I thought he was a bit weak yesterday.
Yeah, wasn't too happy with him, to be honest. He kind of did similar to Paulinho on the ball without offering what he offers off the ball. Just a bit of a anonymous display. Really struggled to impact the game. I think he was weak off the ball as well. Yeah, it wasn't a good display from Bentancur.
Next up is Mohamed Kudus. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. I thought if anything was going to happen, I think he had the quality to provide it. A number of crosses in the box where we should have maybe done a bit better from. He did look a threat. I thought maybe he had a couple of men on him at all times, and I think he did well to wriggle out at situations. But not his best display, but he tried his best, I guess.
Yeah, it was fairly average, I thought, from Kudus, but he provides so much for us. He's so reliant on him. It's tough to criticise him because so much goes through him. But yeah, I thought when he had the opportunity to cross, the quality wasn't really there. Struggled to really create, I think, on the day as well. Some corners were pretty good. There was one horrendous one in the second half.
That went nearly at the corner flag.
Which was nonsense. But look, wasn't bad, but we know he's capable of more.
Lucas Bergvall up next. Sim gives him a 3, as do I. Really bad performance from Bergvall, unfortunately. Lost the ball in key areas yesterday. I think in the first half it was 2 errors leading to a shot, and it would have been on him if any of those were to go in. Didn't really impact much going forward. Just a really poor display, uncharacteristic from Lucas Bergvall yesterday. Yeah,
really disappointed with that performance, especially given that he's been out of the team for a few games, and it's a really good chance for him to stake a claim, and he just didn't take it. In fact, he was careless. He was loose on the ball. I don't think it's a fact he just wasn't trying. It was just a bad day at the office for him. Gave the ball away in some bad areas, which could have led to Spurs conceding goals. Didn't impact the game too much going forward, apart from one moment near the end of the first half. He put in a lovely dink cross to the back post, which Danso could have buried, but he didn't. Bergvall, though, second half was anonymous. Didn't get him involved enough in the game at all. So yeah, really, really poor display.
Wilson Odebear, 7s all round, definitely our biggest threat particularly in the first half. I thought kind of second half he kind of vanished out the game a little bit, but first half I thought he was really good, asking questions of the Monaco backline, really hard to handle, fed Richarlison where Richarlison's got to be doing better at that moment in time. And I think he's really kind of getting the benefits of having a bit more space because of how well Kudus has done this season. Kudus just attracts so much attention, and I think that's freeing up Odebear's side, and he's seeing a lot more of the ball, and we're kind of going down his side a lot more now. And look, he looks threatening without really doing too much as of yet, without creating those consistent amount of chances. So the first thing is that he's growing in confidence, he's looking more threatening, and now he needs to kind of put that into action and make it something that we can actually get some goal contributions from. Yeah,
I think they're coming. I think he's looking more confident. I think he's taking people on more consistently. And he did create a few chances yesterday. He created one for Richarlison, as you say. He created one for Van de Ven, who flicked it over the bar. He's getting those crosses in a bit earlier than he was. He's looking a bit more direct and a bit more effective in that final third. He cut inside, had a shot which deflected just over the bar as well in that second half. Obviously, we want to see more. He's getting better. I think it was one of his better displays in a Tottenham shirt. And I think he's just getting more confident. You can see it. He's looking a lot more assertive when he's on the ball. He's looking to take people on. So that's really, really good. And I think, when he gets tackled or things like that, it's not affecting him as much as maybe it was before, where he gets tackled and then the next time he doesn't take on his man. Now he's like, okay, I'm still going to continue to take you on. And he's looking sharper. So I think this run of games is really helping him.
And last of the starting 11 is Richarlison. Sim gives a 3. I gave him a 4. To be honest, I'm not sure why I gave him the extra point. Maybe I was just feeling nice to Richarlison when I was doing my player ratings. But he's just not doing the same things that he was doing when he first started the season in those first 3 games. You're not seeing him drop deep. You're not seeing him be aggressive up against the midfield or the defence, win the ball back. You're not seeing him with that link-up play. It just seems like he's just waiting for the ball to come to him. He's really isolated. When he does get the ball on the few occasions, he's taking too long to make those decisions and ultimately losing the ball and the attack breaks down. It's really frustrating at the moment.
I agree. And I think there are a few reasons for that. I think he's not looking as energetic as he was. Also, I think there's not as much space as there was in those games. When he's playing against PSG and Man City, he's isolated against one centre-back. And he's able to kind of get ahead of them and hold up the ball. Now, there was 3 centre-backs yesterday, and there's midfielders very close. And as soon as he touches the ball, there's someone on him. And it was very difficult for him to wriggle out of those situations. He's also not getting the service, that for example, he got in that Burnley game. A couple of crosses from Kudus, and he buried them. We haven't seen too much of that service since then. But he has to take some personal responsibility as well. He's nowhere near threatening. When he did get that one chance, he took way too long to shoot, and the chance was gone. He wasn't getting involved in the game anywhere near enough, and he's just anonymous. It was as if he wasn't on the pitch, to be honest.
Yeah. Javi Seaman's up next. Him gives him a 4. I gave him a 3. Really poor performance from him. I felt like he was consistently making the wrong decisions on the pitch. A few moves broke down when, he was in promising positions. There was one where the counter-attack was on and he just kind of checked back and went the other way, where he's got to be going forward in that situation. There was another one on the edge of the box where he could have shifted and shot or played a through ball into the middle of the box, but he just did this back heel to Archie Gray. And yeah, look, I know it's not many moments, but when you come on with half an hour to go and you're tasked with being the creator, the number 10, the hub of the team, and the difference maker, you got to make that difference. And he didn't do that yesterday. And I think sometimes he's a bit too weak on the ball as well. But also, what I would say to back him up a little bit, we're not playing to his strengths at this moment in time, and we're not playing to drive through the middle. We're playing to go out wide. So we need to play to his strengths a bit more.
Yeah, look, it wasn't a good cameo from him. I think at least he was a bit more involved than Bergvall was. He was getting on the ball a bit more, picking up those positions more than him, but just wasn't making the difference when the time came. Unfortunately, it wasn't too often because of how little we saw the ball in their half, and that is obviously a frustration. But those couple of moments, especially you're talking about, we've got to see more quality from him. He also took a shot from 30 yards well over the bar when there was some better options there as well. Probably born out of frustration with how little of the ball we were seeing at that point. So we need to see more from him. It was a bad game. It was a bad cameo.
Is that it? Next up is Pat Mate Sarr. 5s all round for Pape. Again, just a bit anonymous when he comes on, which is really disappointing because there was a lot of clamour for him to start the game yesterday after the start of the season that he's had that injury and hasn't really been able to start a game since. And he came on, he added a little bit of energy, but the quality just wasn't there. I think he did create one chance for Brennan, but apart from that, I think it was pretty anonymous. Yeah,
I thought he was going to come on, add a bit of energy. Didn't really happen, and I also didn't think it helped us stem the tide when it came to how many chances we were conceding. In fact, I think it got worse when he came on, to be honest. I think at least Bentancur was maybe preventing them a bit, creating the chances at the level that they were. But I think Sarr, when he came on, the defensive awareness wasn't really there. Didn't allow us to progress the ball forward either. I just don't think he added what we thought he would add when he came on.
Yeah. Randall Kolo Muani, 6s all round for Muani. And I thought, you know what? I thought he was decent when he came on. I didn't think much of him when he came on for the last 10 minutes against Villa. But I think he looked a bit more fit in this game, to be honest. He was, being a bit hard to handle. I thought he held the ball up a lot better than what Richarlison was doing. And he actually, tried to impact and drive us forward a little bit. So I want to see him start on the weekend.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did all right. I think his hold-up play was a lot better than Richarlison. Look, it's not like he came on and did loads, but I think he just looked a lot more competent, stronger, a bit more quality in his hold-up play. So, obviously, he never really got a chance to find a goal or anything like that, but I think he did a lot better than Richarlison did.
And last but not least, Brennan Johnson, 3s all round for Brennan. And look, if you're Brennan, and you're not starting at this moment in time, and you know the reasons are evident why. You know, we need better creators out on that wing, and he's just not that at this moment in time. You've got to take your chance when it comes to you. He was anonymous for the 20 minutes he was on the pitch, but what happens at 0-0 after a terrible performance for 90 minutes, a chance falls to him at the back post, and he just fluffed his lines. He just didn't connect with it properly. And you never know if you're connecting with that and it goes in the back of the net, which we've seen Brennan do before. We're probably giving him a much higher rating, and he goes and wins the game, and it's the biggest daylight robbery that we've seen in a very long time. But he fluffed his lines in the only moment that he got in the game.
Yeah, and I wonder if his confidence is very low at the moment, through the fact he's not really starting games, and that, you know, when he got his chance, he completely fluffed it. Really, really poor from Brennan, and obviously didn't offer a lot outside of that, did he? So yeah, I can't really come here and say he did well.
And last but not least, Thomas Frank. So Thomas Frank has got 4s all round. Not great from him, to be honest. You know, and I'm a firm believer in him, but you know, you got to give criticism when it's due, and I think it was due yesterday. None of the Champions League games have been good enough. This one, the worst of the lot, and we've just conceded way too many chances, nowhere near as defensively solid as we know we can be. Nowhere near as much creativity, particularly through the middle. The way he's got us set up is just... It just doesn't help us. It doesn't help us. It didn't help us defensively, and didn't help us offensively. Too many sideways passes, too much of the inviting pressure of the opposition, and they duly obliged. Frank has got to be thanking Vicario so much for the performance that he put in, because it was only Vicario that stopped him getting a complete embarrassment yesterday. And if we did go and lose 4 or 5 or 6, like what maybe the game deserved, then I think Frank is coming under a hell of a lot of criticism, even more criticism than he's coming into now. I think he's just very lucky that we drew the game 0-0 yesterday.
Agreed. And shocking performance. We weren't good going forward. We weren't good defensively. I think the subs didn't really impact the game that in the way that he would have liked. And in fact, I think especially the Sarr sub kind of made things a bit worse even. I think the subs maybe near the end. I know he took off Kudus, but obviously he wasn't really helping Porro, and they were just getting in time and time, so that kind of helped a bit. But the level of performance we saw yesterday was really shocking. I think the lineup, I didn't have a major problem with it at the time, but I think obviously we rotated and we did get a draw, but you know we didn't really play well throughout the game. But I understand he's got to use his squad, so I don't have too many major complaints. But it's just at the end of the day, when the setup at the moment, we're just playing sideways all the time. We're just looking to get in the wingers to build up, and it's a horrible watch at the moment, and he's got to take responsibility for that. Yeah,
absolutely. So, yeah, not many players come out with some credit, but there are some, at least, that do come up with a bit of credit. Obviously, mainly Vicario. But that is your player ratings for the 0-0 draw against Monaco yesterday, which definitely feels like a loss when you take into the balance of play. A couple of super chats here. One from Tom Witten saying, looking for a pub recommendation pre a home match. Where's the best place for pints before the game near the stadium? Missing your grandpa here, lads. Yeah, we're all missing our grandpa. Obviously, it was his birthday last weekend. It would have been his 89th birthday. And yeah, he definitely would have been able to come on last night and given us a lot of positivity to take home from the game. Yeah. But in terms of a pub, yeah, I mean, you head to the Coach and Horses, head to the Bricklayers. If you want something even close to the ground, head to the Beavertown or the Number 8. I mean, there's no shortage of pubs on the high road, and they're all pretty good. So just check out one of those, I guess.
Can you even drink in the stadium?
Even drink in the stadium. Now Levy's gone. Now Levy's gone. It's over everyone.
Longest bar in Europe.
You get pints filled up from the bottom of your cup.
Are they still reasonably priced in the stadium, or have they gone up?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm not sure. Michael Hellman says, these are Thomas Frank's growing pains. Frank will get it right. We need to buy Akilush and sell Maddison. Bentancur did not deserve a new contract. # come on you Spurs. Yeah, I mean,
Akilush was brilliant.
Mate, he was incredible. And yeah, I would love to see Akilush at Tottenham, to be honest.
What a player.
I'd love to see him at Spurs, but Yeah, I
think he'd be more of like a
desperate for
replacement for
Maddison,
Decky.
to be honest. Yeah, I agree with that because he's more of that like right-sided number 10 kind of thing.
Yeah.
So hard to get the ball off him, isn't he? He's
I know.
got magic in his boots.
He seems to have like so much time on the ball. He seems to have so much awareness. It's crazy. And then he seems to make decisions so quickly, but it's always like the right decision and always a great pass and everything just done with so much quality and done quickly as well. What a player. Look, I agree. I agree. These are just growing pains to any new manager, especially when you're adjusting, going from a very, attacking style of play and open style of play like we were last season. It's going to take time to change things up, and I agree with that. But at the end of the day, you go from where we were at the beginning of the season to where we are at the moment. It's just we haven't seen improvement. Yeah,
the improvement's going to come. Well, that's the super chats. Let's get into how the internet did react to the game yesterday. And first and foremost, we've got this from All Things THFC. We have finally found our Harry Kane replacement, guys. Cut this guy's loan short and get him into the team, man.
Get him up front.
Get him up front. Get him anywhere, mate.
That is ridiculous.
Luka Vuskovic is a generational talent. Look at this guy, bro. He's crazy.
Is that? What the hell is that?
He's crazy.
I think Bale would have been proud of that. Ronaldo would have been proud of that.
100%. The guy's crazy, man. I don't understand. Like, what do we have on our hands here?
What am I watching?
No, I should sleep, but the voices in my head.
This is one of some of the Hamburg players who head in their hands. They can't believe what they just saw.
An 18-year-old centre-back is putting this out.
It's insane. The technique he's got on him. Oh, that's one of the best overhead kicks I've ever seen.
Yeah. Next up, saying, Kane from the lane, what are we doing here?
See, this, if you remember, this is a very similar screenshot to we saw at the Villa game. We had Simmons there in the middle, and everyone is so deep. Look at the gap there. Such a big gap between the midfield and the front line.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand the thinking here. Who's on the ball here? I can't see. Is it Vicario?
Well, yeah, I think it's Vicario.
Surely someone's got to be vacating their space. That just invites the pressure from Monaco.
Yeah, and as well, like something I noticed from the game yesterday, it's just like there was a severe lack of movement as well. Like when players on the ball, like no one's moving to create the space.
Like, let's say he goes long to Kudus, which we did a lot yesterday. Like, there's going to be no one around him.
Yeah.
If there's any touch on the ball, there's no second ball to you on. If we're going to play it short, then there's no one to knit the play with, unless Xavi comes really short. But then why Xavi on the halfway line? It's confusing to me.
Yeah.
This whole setup. And then if you're going to play it short like this, you can't have Sarr and Paulinho there because they're not the kind of guys who are going to turn and spray passes long. You need a good passer.
Yeah.
So why didn't you prioritise that if you're going to play this way in the summer?
Yeah. It's just baffling, isn't it?
Some of this is just very confusing, especially when there's no Romero as well.
Yeah.
It's even more compounds it. So, but the thing is, this is an isolated incident. We've seen this kind of thing in our build-up a lot this season.
Yeah. The only thing that we can hope and pray that it gets better.
Gets better or it changes. Is this the plan? If it is the plan, then it's not going to change. And if it's not going to change, then what do we need to make this work?
This can't be the plan, surely. Like, I don't know.
It has to be, because it keeps happening. This is what we're seeing.
Yeah, unless the players don't fully understand the plan yet. I don't know.
I hope so. Well, I hope that's the case, but I don't know. I think if you look at that front line, we've got a 4-on-4 there. I think he wants that, so that's why they're pushed up, because he wants that 4-on-4. But there's just too much of a gap.
It can't be the plan because it doesn't make sense, man. There's just like acres of space there. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
But I do think he wants those four players being there is what he wants. Because
it can't be just like those four players up there and those four players back there.
I understand that. I this is what I'm trying to work out. I don't understand this, the gap there. Why is there such a big gap between the midfield defence? But I think that forward line is where he wants them to be, because he wants them pushed up against the defenders to create the space. But then that space is not being vacated. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, well, Your guess is as good as mine, mate. I have no clue. Nathan Clark says, removing Bentancur, it turns out, did not solve all of our problems.
Well, he basically set the... if you see here, Bentancur's went off on 60, is that line.
Yeah.
And it got a lot... His point is it got a lot worse
Yeah.
when Bentancur went off.
Yeah. But I also think it's a difference between starting and coming on mid-game. But look, I take his point. And I don't even know if it will solve all our problems, but let's try and find out, from starting a game like that.
Yeah. I think...
And also, you've got to say, like, away in Europe is always going to be difficult, you know what I mean? Like, it's some of the harder games. Like, even in our best of periods under Poch, like, we weren't great away in Europe.
No, that's not, the point is more about Bentancur than the team in general.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I agree with that.
But you can't just take half an hour and just say, oh, it's not going to get better.
Well, it's not that it's not going to get better, it's that it didn't.
Yeah.
It's that he went off, and in fact, we were a lot worse on the ball and off the ball, more off the ball.
Yeah.
And on the ball, I think you would take, because we were much better on the ball in the first half than we were
in the first half, yeah. We were good for 5 minutes at the end.
Yeah, we're okay. Yeah, we were okay for 5 minutes.
Tottenham Independent Transfer Story says, no comparison on modest resources. Pochettino had Southampton playing the best football in the league, was at the time at the cutting edge tactically, and even though he didn't start well, it was clear that he was what he was trying to do at Spurs, and the end result would be worth it. And that's in reply to Matt Law saying, Thomas Frank's start at Spurs head coach is very similar to Pochettino's. The difference was Harry Kane was about to burst onto the scene for Pochettino. Frank's first 13, 1-6, drawn 4, lost 3. One of those on penalties. Scored 22, conceded 11. Pochettino 1-6, draw 4, lost 3. 4 goals for 19 and goals against 14.
Same, really. Identical record.
Yeah.
Apart from, obviously, Frank's got a bit better goal difference.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You can really draw a lot of parallels to their starts.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really remember the style of play, like, in the first few games of Pochettino, those
It was very stodgy.
13 games.
It was very stodgy. I remember there were some games where you could see what he's trying to do, but the pressing was off it. I remember we had some very bad defeats. 3-0 at home to Liverpool, 1-0 at home to West Brom, I remember.
Did we lose to Stoke or something? Did we lose to Stoke?
Lost to Stoke 2-1. But then remember we had we went on this run of just scoring late winners against 10 men.
Yeah.
Beat Villa right at the end, Hull, I think Swansea as well. I think Ericsson just kept scoring late winners. Even though we were playing badly, we just kept getting over the line. And then it all flipped. I remember it was that Everton game. It just flipped.
Yeah.
And we everything started to click in that game.
So hopefully the same thing's going to happen.
And then Chelsea really did start to click in that New Year's Day game.
Yeah, that was like the birth of Harry Kane, really. I know the Villa game was, but that game was when we because after the Villa game, we were just like, all those Harry Kane memes. We didn't actually believe Harry Kane.
And obviously, he was the Thursday night Messi.
Yeah, but that 5-3 game against Chelsea was just like,
okay, he's actually amazing.
Like, who is this guy, man?
This isn't a joke anymore.
But even then, after that, we were still like, is it a one-off game like this?
Yeah.
But yeah, he just goes strength to strength.
But yeah, I guess the point is, you can see early on very similar records, and that's why you don't judge a manager after 13 games.
Yeah. So Alex THFC says this could be a very toxic period. So look at this run of games that we're about to embark on. Yeah. Everton away, who have been really good this season. Newcastle away in the cup. Obviously, going to St James is always difficult, no matter what kind of form they're in. Chelsea at home, which we've got a terrible record against. Copenhagen at home, that's got to be 3 points. Manchester United at home, who, are they turning a corner right now? Maybe.
Who knows?
Arsenal away, less said the better. PSG away, I really worry for that game. Fulham at home, who are a decent side, and then Newcastle back to St James's in the league. So, I mean, this is actually...
Romero and Ndaiye could missing a few of those games as well.
Yeah. There are rumours that they're trying to push through Romero for that Chelsea game, but just don't rush him back, man. Look, this is a really daunting set of fixtures. It really is. I don't even know. Like, there's going to need to be rotation in this run as well. because this is like 2 games. I know there's an international break.
Are we asking Kuda to play every game here?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, there's an international break between Man United and Arsenal. But yeah, after that international break, Arsenal and PSG away in the space of a week.
God. Maybe
You're talking about Arsenal and PSG. You're talking about the 2 best teams in Europe, pretty much at this
Away
moment
from
in
home.
time.
Yeah. Yep, it's a very daunting run of games, isn't it? And we've just had on paper a very nice, kind fixtures, and we haven't really made the most of those. And now we've got to make up for it in some
This
of
could
these
be the
games.
making of Frank, this run.
Could be. Or it could be the breaking of Frank. No, I don't think so. I hope not. But it's, and it's weird, like the Newcastle and Everton games, I worry about more than like the Chelsea and United game. I don't know, I can't see us winning these next 2. It's going to be very difficult with the way we're playing on the ball at the moment.
For some reason, yeah, everyone's going to call me crazy, but I think that Chelsea game, out of all of them, is one of the ones I worry about the least. Because I know the way that they're going to play, and I know Frank can counteract that. Where you're looking at Arsenal, like, just no one can even get a shot against them, never mind scoring. Where the way we're playing and attacking, I think it's going to be so
Will
difficult.
Solanke be back any time for these games, maybe?
God knows. Newcastle, always, I don't know. I feel like we can get a result against Chelsea, but I struggle to see where's some other results coming.
Oh, God. I think if we don't get any wins in any of these games...
Because none of those teams, Everton, Newcastle, Man United, no, not Man United, but Arsenal, PSG... Well, PSG will give us space, but all those other teams are not going to give us space.
I think we might get a few surprises in there.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
But...
Got to pray that we will.
Wait, PSG, can Warney play in that game?
Yeah, Champions League, it doesn't matter.
Sometimes it doesn't matter. Decky maybe might be back for one of these games. I don't know.
Decky won't be back for these games.
It could be very toxic in this run. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But imagine if we just do well. That'd be amazing.
Mate, this is it. This is where Frank earns his money. Sheikh Whom says this midfield was never fielded again. So this was the West Ham midfield of João Palhinha, Lucas Bergwijn, and Pat Maté-Sarr. It's strange, isn't it? Why we haven't seen that midfield.
It was a great performance from those 3, and we never saw it.
Yeah. I think Pape got injured straight after that, though, didn't he?
Pape maybe got injured. I don't understand why he's persisting with Bentancur, despite just the bad performances. Not just from him, but the team.
No.
So, like, we have to change something. He keeps playing those 2 together. I'm not even saying it can't work, but it isn't working right now to change it.
Yeah. But when you go up to Everton on the weekend, like...
He's going to play him, yeah.
Our away performances in general in the Premier League have been good with both of them in there.
It's true.
So it's not the Everton game where maybe he should change it. It's probably the next game, home in the league against Chelsea. That's where he needs to change it, in my opinion. Squawker says Tottenham have drawn 0-0 in any competition for the first time since March 2023. Who was that against?
I think I know. AC Milan?
Oh, Milan, Champions League, yeah.
At home.
Under Conte, yeah.
Conte, that was the last time we drew 0-0.
Wow.
Bloody hell, a long time ago.
Yeah, so not great. Who scored said Wilson Odegaard has created more chances than any other Tottenham player combined in the first half versus Monaco. 3 chances.
Yeah, I think he was more creative than he has been, to be honest. I think there was a bit more quality than we've seen.
Yeah, and I think it was everyone said step forward after the Villa game and another step forward now after Monaco.
Yeah, so I think just keep giving him game time. I think keep starting him. I think he's getting better and better.
Yeah. So this is Vicario's game against Monaco by numbers.
History made.
History made, it says. 8 saves. 8 safe shots from inside the box. 2.68 goals, XG goals prevented. 1 out of 1 successful run-outs, 1 high claim, 10 out of 10 sofa score rating, 10 out of 10 in the player ratings as well from both of us. The first ever Italian with a perfect 10 score rating in the Champions League match. So Donnarumma, eat your heart out, mate.
Incredible. What a performance. First ever. I think he's well deserved. I think it was one of the best goalkeeper performances I've ever seen.
You know what? Like, we've all been complaining about Vicario over the past, 4 weeks or whatever, however long it's been. Yesterday, he turned into prime Buffon, didn't he?
He was incredible.
Prime Buffon.
It was just like a one-man wall, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Essentially. It was like no one else was doing anything to stop the opposition apart from him. It was crazy at times.
Yeah. Spurs Statman says, similar story from the midfield pivot. Thought Paulinho put in another solid defensive performance, though. 4 tackles, 3 clearances and interceptions from him.
But you can see, again, look at that pass map from both of them.
Yeah.
Just like no forward passes and very little like in the central area, like in the opposition half.
It's all focused to feed the wingers.
Yeah, all of it. And again, when it is forward, it's unsuccessful. How many green forward passes do you see?
Not many at all.
Like, I don't know if I see any.
No.
Like, very little. It's all sideways and backwards. You can see here in the touch map, it's all very... I mean, I guess you expect them to be touching the ball there, but both of them, you know, you need them to be... If you're going to play them both together, you need one of them to be touching the ball a bit further forward.
Yeah. The Spurs Statman as well says, we really struggled to create chances from open play. In the second half, we completed just 1 pass in Monaco's box. Not good enough. Yeah, I mean, we were barely in their half, never mind in their box.
Yeah, look at this. Just look at this. So this is our pass map in the final third. Yeah, there's nothing. There's very, very little centrally. Actually, there was a lot focused down the left, wasn't it? Look at that.
Yeah. Well, we were forced to go down the left because, you know, they're doubling and tripling up on Kudus. It was the same against Aston Villa as well.
But I think the Odebel was just getting a lot more joy. Obviously, Porro as well was so wasteful.
Yeah.
But yeah, just look at that. Just so little in the box, so little centrally outside the box as well. It's actually frighteningly little down the right. Not even a lot. If it wasn't for Odebel getting some joy, we would have had nothing.
John McKenzie says, Pep has this quote, football is not offensive and defensive. Everything is related, which is why the Thomas Franks is fixing the defence first doesn't work for me. You can't fix the defence without impacting the attack and vice versa. The solution has to be simultaneous. I don't know, man. I think like every manager has their own way of doing things, and Frank told us the way he's doing it, and he told us he's going to fix the defence and solidity, and then he said, you know, the easiest thing to fix is the defence. And, you know, the attacking patterns of play and the way we attack is harder to fix and will take maybe a bit more time. I know Pep Guardiola's, you know, one of the best managers, if not the best manager of all time. But it doesn't mean that no other manager's way of working works.
No, that's fine. But he's saying you can't just work on a defence without
it impacting the attack. Yeah, and that's true.
But then you can't start impacting the attack.
Yeah, it's a team sport, and everything impacts each other 100%.
But you say you can't just do one. Like he's saying, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. You just work on the defence without working on the attack.
Yeah.
So he's making the argument that's not how football works. Because the way you attack impacts your defence.
Yeah, I don't disagree. To be honest.
So I don't know, but. I mean, but Frank didn't say he's just working on defence now.
No, he didn't say that. No.
So the implication at the moment is he's just getting us solid, and then he'll start working on the attack. But I'm sure he is working on the attack.
Yeah, look, I don't doubt that. Maybe I said it wrong. Maybe it's not that he's not working on the attack, but maybe it takes longer to see the fruits of the labour.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Squawker says, based on the quality of the shots he faced, Vicario prevented 2.68 goals against Monaco. He's just one of 4 goalkeepers to make over 8 saves and keep a clean sheet in the Champions League game for an English side in the last 10 seasons after Alisson Becker, Nick Pope and David De Gea.
I think Alisson was the final.
What, he made 8 saves against us?
Yeah.
Really?
It was a record at the time.
Well, we had 8 shots on goal.
Yeah.
I don't remember one of them.
Yeah, I know. They were all like long shots.
Good. That's mad. Anyway, Coy's Confidential says, I'm being genuinely serious when I say this. If Thomas Frank doesn't work out at Tottenham Hotspur, sacking Ange Postecoglou and not giving him a chance with a full squad after the end of the 17-year trophy drought in an injury-riddled season will go down as one of the worst decisions in footballing history. You just wanted me to read that out loud now, didn't you?
I'm not saying nothing.
You just wanted me to read that one out.
It's weird, isn't it? How every bad result becomes this referendum on the hand sacking.
Yeah.
Which I don't agree with. I don't agree that it should all be linked.
Yeah.
And do I agree with this opinion? I don't agree that it was like the worst decision in footballing history to sack Ange. I don't agree that, although didn't agree, I don't agree that it was the right decision. And what I will say is it will definitely be very frustrating if it does go wrong with Frank, and we did give Ange season 3. That I would agree with that. I would like to have seen what would have happened, but look, we got Frank now. I do like Frank. I do think he's going to do. He's going to do, and is actually not, and is doing a good job with us right now. It's just bad. It's just right now in the current time of recording this, we're not playing very well. That's fine. That's always going to happen at some point, especially early on.
It will get better, people. It will get better.
It will get better. I'm certain of that. But will it get to where we want it to go to? That's what I don't know. But I'm sure it will get better.
Where do we want it to go to?
Be a consistent team, offensively dominant. Top 4 challenging, while also.
Do you not think we can do that this season? Challenge top 4.
I don't know. Well, with the way things are going right now.
Because, a few weeks ago we were talking. You're saying, top 4, top 5.
That's where we should be.
Do you think
with our squad?
Yeah. Do you think we can be there at the end of the season?
I think we can. I just don't know if the way we're playing at the moment will lead us there. And I don't know if Frank is the kind of manager long term to get us to being this, a good attacking team who's going to be getting us playing.
I think we will be there or thereabouts.
Football. I don't know. I think the evidence at the moment.
Obviously, nobody knows. I'm saying, what's your prediction?
Evidence. My prediction, I think he can. But I don't. I
think we'll definitely be there or thereabouts come the end of the season.
Oh no! In terms of that, I think we can definitely be there or thereabouts. I'm talking about we want to be a team who's good to watch. I'm not saying just entertain. That's not the only important thing. I'm just saying, we just want to be better to watch, more attacking, and more fluid, and be a team who's dominant. And we're going to have to be that. Given that with Tottenham, we're going to have to be the more dominant team and the favourites in a lot of these games. I don't know how Frank copes with that situation yet.
Yeah, and
that's what we got to find out.
Yeah, the way I'm looking at it in terms of top 4, top 5, I think there are quite a few teams going to go for it. I wouldn't be surprised if Crystal Palace and Bournemouth are there or thereabouts come the end of the season. They're definitely looking like very strong teams.
I think come January we might be 7-8 points off it, but I think after Jan, come February, March, we're going to go on a really good run, and then we're going to claw it back and we're going to get right back in the mix. But I think it's going to be tight. Yeah,
because you're looking at Chelsea, maybe even Manchester United, Newcastle. Now all these teams are all expecting to be there or thereabouts come the end of the season, so it's going to be one hell of a battle. You've got to say the top 3. This top 3, no one's going to touch the top 3.
Yeah, it's just at the moment. The problem is at the moment we're not playing that well, and we don't have that much time on the training ground. So everything's coming thick and fast. He's got to try and get ways to play to win points, win games, right? And he's going to try and implement his way of playing all in the space of 1 or 2 days in between games. It's very, very difficult to do that. So I don't expect things to change massively massively in between games. It's going to have to be very, very gradual because he doesn't have the time to change things drastically in between games. There might be certain tactical things he can implement in a very short space of time. Okay, let's go back 3 in this game, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of implementing in possession styles of play, it's not. I don't expect come Everton we're going to be free flowing. It's not going to happen. It's going to be very gradual. And I think come January time, I think then we're going to see things be a lot more where he wants them to be. But I think it's going to have to be gradual implementation.
Yeah, I don't doubt that, and I think that's completely fine as well. Completely fine.
Yeah.
Last but not least, our friend Billy Kens with Eric Dyer yesterday out in Monaco. He was Eric Dyer was watching the youth game, Tottenham against Monaco youth
he finally
game.
found the fan who was abusing him.
But apparently Eric Dyer was obviously in good spirits yesterday, taking a lot of pictures with Spurs fans in the game. And by the way, the Spurs youth team are top of the Champions League group.
I think did Williams Barnett again yesterday.
I think got an assist yesterday, but he's the guy is just...
They've won all 3 games, haven't they?
Yeah. I think the guy that got on the score sheet yesterday was Tynan Thompson.
Tynan Thompson.
He's looking...
He was great in pre-season.
Yeah. Tynan Thompson, Luca Williams-Barnett and Olasesi and, these guys, they're really stepping up at the moment. So, yeah, that is the way the internet reacted to the game yesterday. And I think that... Oh, no, we've got a Tottenham update. We got a Tottenham update to bring to you today, people. And I said we were going to deliver some transfer news, and that is what we're going to do right now. As a publication is saying that after missing out on Kobbie Mainoo during the summer transfer window, Tottenham are preparing another move for Manchester United midfielder as potentially as early as January. Still not really getting too much of a look in at Manchester United and under Ruben Amorim. Do you think Spurs could potentially make this move for Kobbie Mainoo?
I mean, if he keeps playing the level he's playing, I actually do. Because I think he needs to get out of there right now. He's not being trusted. He's not playing anywhere near someone like him could play. And I actually think we could use him. Like in terms of I think he fills a role right now, which if you're looking at the troubles we're having, he would really help solve that. He would help getting us being more progressive, being comfortable on the ball with his back to goal, being press resistant, playing the ball forward. Like, I think you could easily identify him as a player who Tottenham could need in their squad.
What are you saying? Palhinha, Kobbie Mainoo, Javi Simmons, free midfield.
Beautiful. And he needs to get out of there. We have the money potentially to spend. I think he would rather get out of there sooner rather than later. I don't think he'd rather wait till the summer. I think he would get out of there in Jan.
Well, he wanted to get out in the summer, if you believe the rumours.
I know, but he stayed, but it hasn't obviously improved, has it, that situation? So I think Jan, if things continue, he would want to get out of there. So maybe a Rashford style loan. I would say that.
Bring it on, mate. Bring it on. I say yes. I say bring him in. And also, he's been pictured in Spurs kits when he was a kid as well. I'm not sure if he's a Spurs fan or, he's just wearing a kit or not. But, bring it on, mate. How much do you reckon? Well, you're saying a loan. He's probably not on too big wages either, being a young player from the academy.
I mean, I wonder how much he would cost. If they're happy to get rid of him, maybe 50 million could do it.
Next up, we're going to talk about Dusan and Vlahovic again, as the Footy Insider is saying that Vlahovic is expected to leave Juventus in 2026 when his contract expires, and the Serbian international is favouring a move to Tottenham Hotspur at this moment in time. Look, I've told you guys already that I really like Vlahovic. Hasn't gone all his way since joining Juventus, but still been able to find consistent goals in the Juventus side. Obviously, Juventus not exactly been the best team over the past couple of years since he's been there. I do think he is better than what we have. So even if it's just like, well, I don't know if it even can be because we've got 3 strikers here, unless we're selling one. But let's say if we were to sell Richarlison, I know it's probably unlikely, but if we were to sell Richarlison in January and bring him in, I wouldn't be against that.
I was watching clips of Richarlison when he was playing for Everton, and the guy just looks like a different player. Like, I think physically, these injuries have taken its toll on him, and it seems as though he can get these big performances every so often, but to get them consistently seems to be beyond him at the moment. When it comes to Vlahovic, look, I think he's a good striker. I just feel like he's one of those strikers. We'll sign him and we'll want him gone in a couple of years because he's just not at the level that we need him to be. I think he's a better finisher than what we have. I think.
So what you're saying, he's more of the same of like Richarlison, Solanke kind of thing.
Yeah, I think maybe you can get more goals, but I mean, his overall play maybe is lacking a bit. I think he can be quite weak, to be honest. I think he's a good player, and maybe Frank can get the best out of him, and maybe he can be a 20-goal season striker for us. I'm not certain about it. I just feel like he might get eaten up in the Premier League. I don't know if he'll be up to it. But
eaten up in what sense? Because he's quite physically ready for the Premier League. He's got a big physical profile. So in what sense will he get eaten up?
He's not that strong. I know he's like tall, but he's actually not. I don't know. I feel like
I thought he was pretty strong.
he's not that quick as well. I think he's got pace issues. I think aerially, I think he lacks it. I think he's got a great left foot. I think he's got a very good left foot, and he's got a good finish. But I don't know. I think there's something missing for him to be a big success in the Premier League, to be honest. I think he's one of those strikers who, I think he's a good name, and I think you watch his YouTube compilation, like, yeah, he's good. But I don't know if he'd be a success in the Premier League.
But he's better than what we have.
Finishing-wise, yeah.
What, not all-round game?
I think Solanke offers a lot more than him off the ball.
Maybe off the ball. But can that bit not be coached into a player, the off-the-ball stuff?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, work ethic. I'm not saying he's not a hard worker, but I don't know. He's just seemed to be eaten alive a bit at Juve.
But still get the goals.
He's got a decent record. It's not like it's okay. He gets goals. He's a goal scorer. But that's not enough in this day and age. Sometimes it's not like... I know Haaland's an amazing goal scorer, but you don't even need, like, sometimes, like, just the best number, like, most goal scoring number 9 these days. As long as you get the other goals from somewhere else. But I don't know.
We're not doing that.
No, not doing that. I just think we could do better.
Like if we were to bring in Dusan Vlahovic, like he goes right to the top of the pile of players where you think the goal's going to come from.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what we need, in my opinion. We need someone that can just put the ball in the back of the net, 'cause we don't have many of them.
I think we're going to sign him. He's going to be stuck on big wages, and we're going to be stuck with him. And I think it'd be a mistake.
Well, let us know your thoughts. Do you think that we should bring Dusan Vlahovic through the door? And last but not least, we're going to talk about Iliman Ndaiye. This publication is saying that Premier League rivals are eyeing up Ndaiye, and it has been suggested that Everton star could be a subject of bids in January. Clubs like Tottenham Hotspur and Newcastle are said to have identified Ndaiye as a versatile attacking player who can operate as a 10 and or on either flank. Juventus and AC Milan, as well as Atletico Madrid, are amongst those keenly monitoring Ndaiye's progress as well. Any potential suitors for Ndaiye would need to submit a bid in excess of £60 million to even bring Everton to the negotiation table, a price reflecting the attacker's contract until 2028.
I like Ndaiye. I think
love
he's
him.
good. I think he's really good. I just don't think he's the kind of player we need. I think we need more of we need somebody who's going to get more goals in the wide areas. I know we got Brennan, but he's obviously not fancied at all because of his all-round play at the moment. We need someone who's obviously more capable on the ball than like Brennan, but also just more of a goal scorer. We're lacking goals in the wide areas at the moment. We're not getting enough. And obviously since Sonny's gone as well, Kudus has obviously filled a hole in terms of quality, and he's obviously great at creating chances, but again, he's not a goal scorer. We just need a bit more quality in front of goal. And Ndaiye is great dribbler. He's also quite creative, but
He's very creative.
yeah, he's creative. He's a very good dribbler, but I feel like we just need a bit of a goal scorer, somebody who's more capable of getting goals. He's not much of a goal scorer in Ndaiye.
We need a Sonny, is what you're saying. Like those players are few and far between.
Someone on his profile, someone who's looks to score more than just dribble and pass to someone else. We need someone who's going to cut inside and curl onto the far corner. I know it's hard to come by, but look, I'm not going to say no to Ndaiye over what we have, but I feel like, again, it's like we'll sign him and then we're still going to miss that profile of a goal scorer, and we're going to need that as well.
I really like Ndaiye. I would love to see him at the club. I think he's such an exciting player to watch. I've been loving him ever since he's joined Everton, to be honest. I thought he had a good season last year. He started this season really well. He's a player that knows how to take a man on, does it quite successfully, pretty aggressive at times as well, can create chances. And I think he's got it in him to get those consistent goals. I think at Everton, obviously, it's been hard because of who Everton are, and obviously Spurs are going to hopefully be a more attacking team and a bigger team going for bigger things, and I think he can get more consistent goals in a better team. But yeah, I would like to see him at the club. He can play all across that front line, apart from up front, in the 10, right, left, mainly on the left. But I think this year, because Grealish has been on the left, he's been more on the right, and he's performing really well. So I think he's a player that would be really good for the squad, like really good.
Swap deal with Brendan, I'll take that.
Swap deal with Richie.
Or Richie. Take that.
40 million plus Richarlison. Take it or leave it, Everton.
I wouldn't mind that at all. Would not mind that at all. I like Ndaiye. I do think he's a really good player. I just think him. My point is, we're signing him. Let's say to start on the left, right? I don't think it solves our issues that we have right now in the front line. It's not going to get us more goals, but it does add us more threat. But I think Odegaard is getting that threat game by game.
I think he would have more of a threat than Odegaard in the short term anyway.
Yeah, in the short term.
And I think if we were to bring in more of a clinical number 9, that will naturally create more chances for him, and we'll see a lot more goals.
Okay, so to make Ndaiye effective, we need
not only, but to enhance.
I just don't think it solves our issues getting someone like Ndaiye in.
Well, I think it makes us more
because he gets goals.
Yeah, but I think Ndaiye still would make us a better team, no doubt about it.
Yeah, probably. I think in the short term, but I think Odegaard could get to his level not in the not too distant future.
What, to Ndaiye's level, really?
Yeah.
What, this season, you reckon?
Yeah, maybe in a year.
I don't know, man. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Ndaiye and Odegaard, kind of fight out that role. But if they were to fight out, I think Ndaiye will be the player that gets the most minutes.
Ndaiye's nearly 25, nearly 26, so he's in his prime. And that's fine. That's good.
Yeah, going into his prime.
Yeah, he's 25, 26, that's your prime, really. Especially for wingers. It's when you rely on explosive pace and stuff like Ndaiye does. I think he's in his prime at the moment. And he's a good player. I wouldn't go too big on him. But I think if he's available for 40 million, take it.
There was a report the other day about him and Minte being our two options. Would you prefer Minte then?
Yeah, I think Minte would be, well, yes and no.
Because he doesn't get too many goals.
I think he's going to be more of a goal scorer.
He is only 21 though.
He's younger. I think he's got a better strike on him than Ndaiye. I think he gets in more goal scoring positions, but the thing is, he's much better on the right. Ndaiye's, I think, more adaptable to play both sides. I wouldn't side Minte on the left, so there's a problem there. But I think the profile I'd much like is Minte, to be honest. But I think Ndaiye would be better because the hole is more on the left than it is on the right.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. That is your Tottenham update. That is your live stream done and dusted for you guys today. We'll be doing some content on the ball today for our Premier League predictions. So go check that out a bit later on this evening. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.